Good evening. It's Friday, December 27th. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The case of a San Diego Navy SEAL is front and center again tonight. SEALs who were under Eddie Gallagher's watch voiced serious concerns about his conduct in Iraq. It's all laid out in an exclusive story by the New York Times that raises new questions about military justice. KPBS reporter Max Rivlin-Nadler has more.
Hours of recorded interviews with Gallagher's team members, text messages between them, and a body cam recording of the moment right before Gallagher allegedly stabbed a wounded ISIS fighter were included in the trove of documents leaked to the Times. They paint a picture of a SEAL team that struggled with confronting their volatile leader, Gallagher, before ultimately alerting senior Navy officials to his alleged misconduct during a 2017 deployment in Iraq. They claimed he had shot at civilians and was trying to encourage violent confrontations. Much of this came out during testimony in the military trial of Gallagher earlier this year, but it's the first time the general public is getting to see it. Gallagher was acquitted on all but one count by a military jury in July after a key witness changed his testimony on the stand, contradicting what he had told prosecutors previously. Rachel Van Landingham is a professor at Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles and a former Air Force JAG lieutenant colonel. She's worried about the chilling effect this will have on SEALs who want to come forward with allegations of misconduct.
So when they see someone being venerated, not only just getting away with just murdering people and killing not according to the rules, but just killing for killing's sake, and that person being venerated, that the destructive effect of that on an individual's psyche and on their moral compass, you can see it and hear it in those interviews, and that's what really struck me.
Over this past weekend, Gallagher and his wife met with President Trump in Mar-a-Lago, where Gallagher gave the president a gift. Trump pardoned Gallagher in November, restoring him to his rank as chief petty officer. In the videos leaked to the Times, his team members described him as evil and toxic. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
Good news tonight for drivers, especially for those who have road trips this weekend. All major freeways in our region are back open. Late this morning, the Grapevine section of I-5 north of LA reopened. CHP had it closed for 36 hours. Even though a storm had passed, miles of road were just too icy. Those heading to and from Vegas had their own closures to deal with. The most recent was a weather closure near the Nevada state line. But again, all freeways are back open tonight. Closer to San Diego, CAL FIRE shared these pictures of crashes along I-8. These are in Pine Valley and Descanso. First responders say all crashes were ice-related. Conditions improved later in the day. We'll get some sunshine this weekend, but it's still going to be chilly at night. Let's get our weekend forecast from Marvin Gomez.
In the last couple of hours here, our satellite and radar indicate a couple of clouds, high clouds moving across Southern California. You can see that center of a low pressure system that gave us the wet weather yesterday already moving away from southern Arizona. And into tonight here at home, we will see clear skies, temperatures coming down to 44 degrees in the metro area. The rest of San Diego County looking at temperatures near 38 degrees for Borrego Springs, Mount Laguna 27, Escondido coming down to 36 degrees. Here's your futurecast. Notice how we are going to stay quiet as we go through tonight, into tomorrow, and into much of our Sunday as well. Looking at the temperatures for our Saturday, Escondido coming up to 61 degrees. Borrego Springs is 63. Heading into Oceanside with temperatures near 62. Mount Laguna 43 degrees. Now looking at your extended forecast for the coast, heading into Saturday, lots of sunshine, a great weekend, but then Monday will be the day where we will have some downpours, and afterwards it's gonna stay dry. That's going to be for the coast, but the same setup is expected in inland areas. We will see times of rain on Monday with temperatures coming up only to 54 degrees. As we head over towards the mountains, well, it's going to be a beautiful weekend, but then cloudy conditions into Monday with an afternoon shower, and there could even be some snow for you out there in the higher elevations on Tuesday. As far as the deserts are concerned, quiet weekend, and then a possible shower for Monday and then mostly cloudy conditions heading into Tuesday. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Marvin Gomez. Back to you.
And the rain moved out just in time for this year's Holiday Bowl. This year's college football showcase is happening tonight at SDCCU Stadium. Fans got an early start this afternoon with tailgating before kickoff. KPBS reporter Joe Hong was there.
We're here at San Diego State University Stadium, the venue for this year's Holiday Bowl. The University of Southern California, with a record of 8-4, will be facing off against the University of Iowa, whose record is 9-3. Now, USC might just be a couple hours away, but University of Iowa fans made an impressive showing today. We spoke to some tailgaters, and both sides seem to agree that Iowa fans travel well.
They're going to win today. You know, why not? The quarterback from Iowa is not that tough, you know, but we got an awesome quarterback, so.
You feel like you have like a home field advantage today, too?
Of course. Especially since I'm here, I'm the advantage.
So why is USC the better team?
Because they're bigger and faster.
Look around, by the way. The parking lots are filled with Hawkeye fans.
Are you surprised to see this many Iowa folks?
We travel well.
Are you nervous about like the home field advantage that USC has?
Not at all. Nope.
Are you surprised to see this many Iowa fans out here?
No, Iowa travels well. Typically this time of year in Iowa it's pretty cold, so everyone kind of bases their vacations on bowl trips. So Iowa has a reputation of traveling very well.
And MTS is boosting trolley service tonight for those going to and from the stadium. The Green Line will run every 15 minutes. Trolleys between downtown and the stadium will be even more frequent. Free parking is available near the Grantville, Hazard Center, Old Town, and Grossmont stations. And this is a big week for tourism in San Diego, and it's not just the Holiday Bowl. Balboa Park is also seeing a big crowd. Today is the start of the annual Holiday Food Truck Festival. More than a dozen food trucks will be at the park through Monday. It's an expansion of the popular Food Truck Fridays that feature a wide range of food from local businesses.
Yeah, we're usually out here for the Food Truck Fridays, but in between Christmas and New Year's, they let all the trucks in. We're able to come out to the park for the next 4 days and make a bunch of food for everyone.
We get 60 to 70,000 people a day during this period. I don't know how many are here today, but as you can see, there are a lot.
And the trucks will be open from noon until 7. Many of the museums at Balboa Park will have special events during the festival. For many people, 'tis the season for giving. Goodwill Industries and other secondhand stores report a spike in tax-deductible donations at the end of the year. People may have good intentions, but some critics say donating to secondhand stores only delays the inevitable final stop for the item, which is the landfill. KPBS Speak City Heights reporter Ebony Monet spent a morning at Goodwill to find out.
The Friday before Christmas, Miguel Cortez waits with a bright yellow bin to retrieve incoming donations.
Good morning.
Nice Christmas trees for you to put out.
Oh, great.
Somebody's gonna need these.
These artificial pines are in high demand at Goodwill San Diego's Chula Vista location. But communications director Darlene Casio says some things are unsellable.
You know, I recently saw a barbecue that was missing a leg that was heavily used that absolutely could not be sold at our outlet.
A new book by author Adam Minter spotlights American consumerism. He writes that within the last 50 years, the amount of things Americans bought rose almost 20-fold. And when people tire of these things, most end up in the trash. Only about 3% of these discarded items make their way to resale markets, such as Goodwill. Minter goes on to say that Goodwill and other secondhand stores only sell about a third of their items. adding to the growing textile waste problem.
That is not true. We really are good stewards of every donation. And the great thing about giving all of your donated items a second life is that other people can put them to good use.
According to MIT's Observatory for Economic Complexity, that second life could take place overseas. Pakistan and Malaysia are the biggest importers of used clothing. Here in the U.S., EPA numbers show nearly 13 million tons of our clothing ends up in landfills, and their toxic chemicals and dyes contaminate the earth. Casio says Goodwill exhausts multiple options before dumping donations.
So if it doesn't sell in our retail store, it goes to our clearance center and then to our outlet. If it doesn't sell at our outlet by auction, then it's recycled. So absolutely, it's a closed loop, and we really do our best to sell everyone's donation.
Before donations make it to a retail floor, workers, or ambassadors, as they're called within the organization, inspect each item. Broken and soiled things are tossed out. Casio says properly disposing of some of these unsellables cuts into Goodwill's bottom line.
Hazardous waste becomes a big responsibility for us, disposing of it properly, and there are big fees associated with that as a nonprofit really do take away from our mission. We do not accept mattresses. So those types of things, fluorescent light bulbs, batteries, things of that nature, any kind of weaponry or firearms.
This is the case at the county's newest Chula Vista store, and 10 miles away on Home Avenue at one of the organization's first sites in San Diego County.
We see about 300 paid purchases a day.
Kaliki Rodriguez is the City Heights store manager.
Well, we offer great products at affordable prices so our community members can treasure hunt and stay within their budget.
Goodwill self-reports that 89% of the $6 billion it generates worldwide goes to community programs, such as its community employment centers, which are central to its mission.
The Community Employment Center here is one of 5 in the county, and it's supported by sales from Goodwill's local 34 stores.
It creates job training programs open to anyone in San Diego, last year serving 4,500 people. Also last year, worldwide, the organization says its sales kept 87 million pounds of goods from landfills, such as this wooden table Cortez loads into an SUV.
Okay, here's your receipt. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Ebony Monet, KPBS News.
The climate crisis intensifies, a president is impeached, and local investigative journalism captures the attention of Congress. It's all part of our top stories of 2019. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
And 2019 was also a big year for former SDSU Aztec Kawhi Leonard, and now he's been named Men's Athlete of the Year. The distinction comes from the Associated Press. He's the 5th NBA player to win the award. In June, Kawhi Leonard played a big part in helping the Toronto Raptors win their first championship. He later signed with the LA Clippers, who are off to a strong start this season. The AP named gymnast Simone Biles as its Woman Athlete of the Year. We're here with marketing lecturer from SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing, Miro Kopik. Thanks for being here, Miro.
Thank you, Maya.
We're doing something a little bit different this week for the Friday Business Report with a look ahead to 2020. From jobs to trade to growth, can you talk to us about the outlook for the year ahead?
Well, this year is going to be really anchored by the election, both nationally and locally. And so at the national level, last year at this time, we were in a very pessimistic mood. There was a government shutdown. The market had been down 20% in the fourth quarter. Consumer confidence was a little bit thin, and there was a lot of uncertainty. The year turned out to be much better and stronger than experts had predicted. So at the end of the year, we still have very low unemployment. Growth has slowed down considerably, but it's still positive growth, so that's great for 2019. So what happens in 2020? Well, we're still seeing some areas of concern, and I think one of the things that we have to think about is, first and foremost, we haven't resolved the trade wars. Even though there was some progress in the last couple of weeks in our trade war with China, it wasn't very clear what the U.S. was going to be getting. There's all the issues that are on the table for 2020. That really creates a lot of uncertainty and unrest at the stock market. The other thing that we have to be on the lookout in 2020 is business and consumer confidence. Up through 2019, consumers have led growth. Consumer spending, we're in the end of the holiday season, is going to be the big story for 2019. 2020, what's going to happen? Also, the stock market, a lot of stock market analysts are saying that the gains in the stock market that we saw in 2019 certainly won't be repeated in 2020. So it'll be a more muted year in 2020, but there shouldn't be likely recession unless there's something really large and external that creates an issue for the U.S. economy. It's been very resilient. It's going to continue to move along, although at a much slower pace in 2020 than we did in 2019. And
then when it comes to San Diego, what are some of the big stories that you've been following and are going to continue to follow for 2020?
First and foremost is the vote on the convention center. If that passes, that will allow the city to expand the convention center. It's going to guarantee that we're going to keep Comic-Con for a long time to come. We're going to be able to attract much larger conventions and really make San Diego a true world-class city, and also showcase for a lot of companies out there that San Diego will be a great place to locate as a business, not just that it's a great place to vacation and a great place to visit. Secondly, the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. We just talked last week about the border crossing in San Ysidro. Trade with Mexico and greater investment on both sides of the border to establish that infrastructure and ecosystem will be a big push. One of the things out of that agreement was that the Tijuana River Valley area will be cleaned up. That's going to be great for the city of San Diego. There will be no sewage spills or much fewer sewage spills. Beaches won't be closed during the key tourist season. So this is a big deal, and there's actual specific benefits for the city of San Diego. Third, affordability. Home prices, last week it was announced that the median home price in San Diego had hit a record high of $594,000. That impacts what rents are going to be, that impacts housing, and overall general affordability in the city. That's going to be a major issue that mayoral candidates and council candidates will be talking about a lot come the fall in the election.
It's going to be a busy 2020.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Miro from SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Iran under pressure. Authorities crack down on protests as the government deepens ties with Russia and China. It's coming up at 7 right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Some bad news for news junkies. The days are numbered for the Newseum in Washington, D.C. The museum dedicated to journalism and its history opened 11 years ago on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's drawn 10 million visitors, but the privately funded attraction has struggled recently. Its final day is Tuesday, December 31st. The latest attraction at the San Diego Natural History Museum is not for the squeamish. The Nat has set up a living lab where visitors can come up close and personal with the creepy and the crawly, and that includes flesh-eating beetles. Here's KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando.
When I went to McCamey Manor's extreme haunt in 2014, I felt confident that I could let a tarantula named Mary walk on my face because the gnats entomologist, Michael Wall, had told me they were not dangerous. I had nothing to fear, right?
Well, it depends on what level of fear and danger you were worried about. One, they're very unlikely to bite you. You really have to stick your finger up in their mouth to get them to bite you. And even if they bit you, it would be very painful, but very unlikely to make you sick and even less likely to cause you to die or anything like that. But where they do become a little bit dangerous is that they've got these little hairs on their rear end that when they're agitated, they'll brush off. And those hairs are kind of like fiberglass. They get into your skin and they make you super itchy. And certainly, if you had one on your face, then the potential of getting those hairs in your eyes or around your mucous membranes, it could be irritating. But again, it would disappear and everything would be fine again.
That's a relief. And I was delighted to see one of our local tarantulas at the San Diego Natural History Museum's Living Lab exhibit. Wall and exhibit developer Bradley Soya gave me a tour.
So the first thing that you'll see when you walk into the exhibition is this large enclosure featuring two of our local lizards. So this includes a desert iguana and a granite spiny lizard.
The spiny lizard will do push-ups as it's a threat to other males. It's a territorial display to say hey, I'm big and tough. You better stay out of my territory.
As you move deeper into the exhibition, you'll see some really large, beautiful snakes. These are some of our venomous animals that we have in the exhibition, including this large red diamond rattlesnake. We want to start breaking down the misconceptions that people have about some of these animals. We want to build empathy around them.
That tends to happen when visitors see these live creatures in an interactive environment designed for educational purposes.
And this is our beautiful observation beehive. And the bees are just allowed to do their thing. They've got an entry and exit tube that takes them outside of the building, and they get to pollinate our beautiful park for us.
And you can see some of them cruising around in there with little tiny yellow bundles on their back legs, and that is the pollen baskets. So they're out there actively foraging right now, collecting pollen and nectar. And they bring it back and we'll store it in the hive to later feed to the larvae.
Then we came to my favorite part of the exhibit, the flesh-eating beetles.
Over here we have our dermestid beetles, also called hide or skin beetles. These beetles are unique because they're doing a job for us here at the museum. They're actually helping to clean and prepare our skeletal specimens for our collection.
Wall has his favorite at the exhibit, the pinacate beetle, or stink bug.
And often if you get a little too close to them, they have this characteristic behavior of raising their rear end up in the air. That is a threat to you, that if you get too close, you might get the stink side of the stink beetle. But there is one mammal that's sort of figured them out, and it's this mouse called the grasshopper mouse. And when grasshopper mouse encounters a pinacate beetle or stink beetle, they'll run up, they'll grab them, they'll flip them over and plant their butts down into the ground, and then they just eat them from the top down like an ice cream cone, leaving the stinky bits behind.
You can always count on Michael Wall for the tastiest bits of information. But as Vice President of Science and Conservation for the museum, he also hopes the exhibit has a positive impact.
So we're really just hoping to get people in to start thinking about the biodiversity of our region, start maybe falling in love with some of these slimy, slithering things, and hopefully they'll develop a little bit more of a conservation ethic, or at the least they won't be scared and squish things.
Thanks to Wall and the Gnat, I'm feeling a little more warm and fuzzy towards our slithering slimies and creepy crawlies.
This is Beth Accomando for KPBS News at McCamey Manor, and I just met Mary.
One of America's most influential radio hosts has died. Don Imus was 79. Originally from Southern California, Imus was born in Riverside in 1940. His radio career spanned decades, taking him to the top of the industry. But he ended up losing his show after making racist comments about a women's basketball team in 2007. Here's a look back now at some of the other celebrities that we lost in 2019.
It's your money. I mean, I'm just holding it for you, like a bank.
Probably not. I'm a grouch by trade and nature.
Not this Christmas, Corey, but maybe next year.
I'm going crazy with hunger. Well, eat something. I can't. I gotta lose 10 pounds by 8:30.
It's not every man that can live off the land, you know. You do your own thing in your own time.
I'm Minnie Mouse, here to ask a very important question. I can tell you that it was an absolute total thrill to see our names up there.
In your house, I am going to be stepping in it. Whatever.
Another one? Just to put my arms around him takes about a week.
Chewie, is that you? Chewie!
Do they teach beauty queens how to apologize? Because you suck at it.
It's so nice to be back home where I belong.
Well, the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate, so you got to coordinate. This is so stupid. I look like a piñata.
We are the United States of America. We are the greatest country in the world.
Because I will not sell out to anybody but to the American people.
Our job is to question power.
My mom, everyone, it's my birthday today.
And I baked this.
She completely surprised me.
For me, coming home here is coming home.
Oh, one more thing. If you can find a better car, buy it.
Fighting battles up a steep hill.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. We leave you with music from Live at the Belly Up, which airs tonight at 11 on KPBS. I'm Maya Trabulsi from all of us here at KPBS. Thanks for watching. Good night.